Turn up the headphones a little bit. ISO. Let's get it.
Whoa, clear out the room, I'm coming through. They wanna see what I'm about. Yeah, I got skills, do it for the thrill. I'm on a paper route.
What's going on? It's your boy Dolo J, and welcome back to the Kicking It Dolo podcast, the sport podcast where we talk about football and basketball, past, present, and future, top 5, top 10 stats, and more. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So on this episode, man, episode 17, man, we're going to talk about a couple things. Are the Bills still title contenders? What team in the NFC has the best chance to, either beat the Eagles or meet the Eagles in the NFC Championship game? A sleeper team that I have in the NFL, man. Are Tatum and Brown the best duo? Is Clay back to form? And year 20, is LeBron really struggling in year 20? So without further ado, let's get right into the episode. So the first thing we're going to talk about, are the Bills still title contenders? 8-3 on the season. Josh Allen has a UCL injury. Micah Hyde is out for the season with a neck injury. Tre'Davious White just came back after being injured in last Thanksgiving's game from a hamstring injury. And Von Miller spraining his knee in the first half against the Lions. Now, the Bills, they are 8-3, like I said, but they do still lead their division, the AFC East. They have not won a game in the division yet. All three of their losses, I believe, were all by 3 points, if I'm not mistaken. The Dolphins, they lost. Josh Allen could have basically, won the game on a touchdown pass. He just threw it short, basically. He didn't put enough on it. Should have threw it more to the outside. The Jets game, they lost by 3 points. They could have won that game. The Vikings game that they lost maybe 2 weeks ago, they could have won that game as well, given the fact that they were up 27-10. Josh Allen fumbled in the end zone. Minnesota did their thing. Ultimately, the game ended up being tied at the end of regulation. And then the Vikings go down basically and kick the game-winning field goal. But the Jets, Pats, and Dolphins are the next 3 games. They're all divisional games. If they can go 3-0 in these games, they can possibly, put themselves in a little bit more of a, and just give themselves a little bit more of a cushion, basically, ultimately in the divisional race. And possibly, I think it would probably be behind Kansas City. Now, if they can somehow end up tying with Kansas City for the top record in the AFC, the Bills did beat the Chiefs, so they would own the tiebreaker. But, yeah, man, it's going to be real interesting to see how the Bills play out, over these next 6 games, I believe. What's Von Miller's status? Will he, come back? When will he come back? What percentage will he come back? 80%, 60%, 75%? Ultimately, they want him to be 100%. But, the playoffs is not too far away. Maybe about a month and a half or so. But it's still time, man. It's still time. So the next topic we're going to talk about basically is which team has the best chance to either beat the Eagles or meet the Eagles in the NFC Championship game. Now, I have 3 teams. Cowboys being the first team, being the team that I believe has the best chance. The 49ers being the second team with the second best chance. And I still have the Vikings up there, man. Even though they did get spanked. They got spanked by the Cowboys 40-3, man. But the Vikings are still a pretty good team, man. Cowboys are averaging 25.4 points per game, only allowing 17 points per game. 43% on third down. 32 total touchdowns as opposed to only giving up 18 touchdowns throughout the season, plus 5 in the turnover ratio. Dak has 10 touchdowns as opposed to 6 interceptions, and he has a 68% completion percentage. Plus, like I said, the Cowboys, when they played the Vikings, it may have been the best game that, that they had. And it was really hard for the Vikings to get anything started on offense and to, stop anything on defense. The Cowboys just did whatever they wanted. Now, the Cowboys were in trouble in the Thanksgiving game in the first half, but they were only down by 6 points at halftime. It was 13-3. But in the second half, they just came out and completely stopped the Giants from doing what they really wanted to do. So that's 2 victories they have over the Giants during the season. They also have a victory, if I'm not mistaken, over the Commanders. They did lose to the Eagles, but I believe they play one more time. So it's going to be real interesting how that game plays out. Now, the second team that I have basically is the 49ers. They're averaging 23.6 points per game, so maybe about almost 2 points less than what the Cowboys are averaging. They're only giving up maybe 0.3 of a point more at 17.3 points per game. They're better on third down than the Cowboys at 46%. Jimmy G has 15 touchdowns and only 4 interceptions, so almost a 4-to-1 touchdown interception ratio as the Dak, who's a little bit under 1, almost 2-to-1, but when you round it up, it'll still be 2-to-1. But yeah. Now the 49ers are -1 in the turnover battle in the as over the course of the season. That's something that they need to flip around as we get closer to the playoffs. You definitely want to be winning, the turnover battle. That's something that's very important, very key in a lot of top teams. You need to take the ball away, but also when you take the ball away, do not give it back. Now, ultimately, given the fact that if you take the ball away a lot and don't ultimately, catch up and cash in and score, then it'll be a lot left to desire with that. But yeah, the third team that I have is the Vikings. They're +6 in the turnover ratio. Kirk Cousins has 17 touchdowns. He does have 9 interceptions, which is quite alarming, but it is Kirk Cousins. We know how Kirk Cousins is. Not to throw any shade or anything like that, but he's going to be on the higher side. Now, I'm not going to say he's going to have more interceptions than touchdowns, but as far as like where he ranks in the league as far as interceptions, I'm not going to say he's going to be top 5, but he's going to be up there. Maybe top 10 or something like that. But, yeah. I just got a text message. But, yeah. It's going to be real interesting to see how the Vikings play out. Now, they have only lost 2 games this season, given the fact that, they still lead their division. But they're going to have to clean up some stuff. For sure. All right, so a sleeper team that I have in the NFL, I'm going to go actually with the Detroit Lions. Now, they are only 4-7 on the season, but they have won 3 of the last 4 games. Jamal Williams is, leading the league in rushing touchdowns with 13. St. Brown is a nice little receiver that they have. I really like what he could do. I like the little wavelength him and Jared Goff are on. He has 716 yards, about 6 to 8 touchdowns on the season on 65 receptions. So he's averaging about 11 yards per catch. Another team that's, I wouldn't say gotten hot, but it's opened a lot of people's eyes as to, the type of football that they can play. Washington, given the fact that it's always like they switch to Heineke, and then, Heineke does well in the regular season, and then as we get to the playoffs, it's just like he tries his best, but the team ultimately, still ends up losing, so that's why they felt the need to go out and get Carson Wentz this past offseason. I know it was some other quarterbacks that they wanted to get, but ultimately they ended up getting Carson Wentz. And it's real weird seeing Carson Wentz. Basically, like this is like everywhere he go. Like last year with Indianapolis, they were borderline, had a chance to get to the playoffs, and then they don't. But they were still a pretty good defensive team, and Indianapolis is still a quarterback away, man. They also still need to, I think they need to bolster up their offensive line a little bit more. I think the defense is still pretty good. But, yeah. Washington has been doing good. They're 6-5 now, so every team in the NFC East is above 500. But, yeah, I'm really liking the Lions. They're tied for second place in their division with the Green Bay Packers. Now, I'm not going to say they're going to make the playoffs or anything. You still have to see how the seeding is going to play out. Because this is a possibility that the NFC East can get 3 teams, given the fact how the other divisions do. The division winners are going to take up the first 4 slots, but it's the next 3 slots that's going to ultimately, be determined. I think the Cowboys is going to secure one of them for sure if they can keep playing the type of, not basketball, but type of football that they've been playing throughout the season. They are 7-3, but they still, they're still pretty good, man. They're still pretty good. But yeah, the Lions are a team I'm definitely keeping an eye out on for sure. All right, now another thing we're gonna segue into the NBA portion of the episode. Tatum and Brown the best duo in the NBA? Brown averaging 25.6 points per game, 6.6 rebounds, 3.4 assists, about 35% from the 3. He has 6 30-point games so far this season. Tatum is averaging 30 and a half, almost 31, 7.9 rebounds, 4.6 assists. He's 35% from the 3 as well. He has 10 30-point games, 2 40-point games, and he has 2 games where he was a basket away from scoring 40. It was 39 to 37 respectively. So yeah, Tatum is the unquestioned alpha dog of the team. Brown is another guy. I think he's the 1B guy for sure. They're definitely a great young tandem, given the fact that I believe they're 25 and 24 years of age respectively. The Celtics are averaging, 119 points, 26.7 assists per game, 42 rebounds per game. They're doing their thing. They're 15-4. I believe through the first month of the season, the Celtics have the best record. It's real cool to see, given the fact that, last season ended how it ended, that they're coming back, and through the first month of the season, they're really playing good basketball. They're still moving the ball. They're taking a lot more threes. They're not as defensive minded as they were last season, given the fact that, Ime Udoka is not coaching them, given the fact that he is suspended for the season. But they're still playing good basketball, still moving the ball. Robert Williams is also not back yet, to the best of my knowledge. So, it's going to be real interesting to see when he comes back and gets back into the fold. What will he start? I believe he will start, given the fact that he is their defensive anchor and best rebounder, in my opinion. He does still shoot around, I think, 75 to 80% from the free throw line, so he's not a liability out there. He's a great lob threat. He's not much of a post player, more of an energy guy, in my opinion. But yeah, just a rim protector, who you could throw lobs to. And that's something that the Celtics need, given the fact he's perfectly constructed for their team. Perfectly. He gives us everything, man. Out there playing on one good knee in the playoffs. I really respect Robert Williams for sure. All right, so the next topic we're going to get into is Klay somewhat getting back to form. He had 40 points Sunday against the Rockets. On the season, he's averaging 17.5. Usually he averages about 19.5, so that's only 2 points down. Not really bad. Averaging about 39% from the 3, as opposed to shooting almost 42%. He had 20 points versus the Jazz. Him and Curry, basically, who's really been carrying the Warriors this season, hit a combined 3 threes within the last 30 seconds of the game, basically against the Jazz to basically, seal it, put it away. But yeah, he's doing his thing. I really don't think Klay can get back to the type of defensive player that he was previously, but I still think he could be the type of, offensive shooting threat that he's been in seasons past. Now, he has had a lot of miles on his body, given the fact that the Warriors have played deep into the playoffs consecutive seasons. I think it was they made the finals maybe, I want to say about 4 or 5 seasons in a row. And, they also had the 73 win season. That took a lot of toll on them as well. So, a lot of miles, a lot of tread on the tires for Klay. So, I really think it's going to be hard for him to sit in the chair like he used to. Because, a lot of times Klay was taking the best offensive, wing. So, I really would like Klay to get back to the type of shooter that he was. Like I said, he dropped 40 almost a week ago. But I don't think Klay will ever get back to prime Klay. He is 34 years of age now, but it's real cool. He hasn't really fell off, and he's also came off. He's missed 2 years of basketball, man. So it's gonna be real hard to get back to that if he ever gets back to it. But can he get back something close to that? That's something I would like to see. All right, so basically the last sports topic of the episode, year 20 being a little harder than expected for LeBron. Averaging 24 points on the season as opposed to 27 for his career. Shooting a career low 24%. He usually hovers around 35%. He's grabbing more rebounds, given the fact that he has been moved to the 4, averaging 8.7 as opposed to 7.3. Assists 6.7 as opposed to 7.3. Turnovers 3.9 as to 3.5. He came back from a apparent leg injury. I think it was a groin injury, but they're just calling it a leg injury. He had 21 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, and 9 turnovers. 9 turnovers. Probably had some rust. LeBron, for me, 9 turnovers is not something I'm accustomed to him seeing, but given the fact that, like I said, this is year 20, he's a lot older. As we were saying with Klay, there's a lot of tread on the tires. A lot of basketball's been played with the USA and, also, maybe pickup games and stuff like that with other players during the off season. LeBron has a lot of tread on his tires. Lot of tread on his tires. Davis is doing this thing. He's leading the league. I mean, not lead, but he's leading the team in scoring as you would want at 26.3 points per game. He's averaging almost 13 rebounds per game, 2.5 per assist per game, and also he has 4 30-point games on the season. AD has been really aggressive, man. Really, really aggressive this season, and this is the type of AD that, I like to see. Showing that he can be basically not if the best big man in the league, basically a top 3 big man in the league for sure. I believe, with his potential, he's up there with Jokic and Embiid. Everybody knows that. It's just, what AD wants to do with it, But Westbrook, he's averaging 15, 5, and 7.5 assists, 3.5 turnovers. The Lakers as a team is averaging 110 points per game, 45 rebounds, 24 assists, which is pretty good. I mean, you do want to try and, lift that up a little bit to maybe 26, 27. They're averaging 15 turnovers per game, which is really really hurting them. You want to try and cut that down to maybe like 12, 11, maybe in the 10 range. 30% as a team from 3, averaging just 9 makes off 30 attempts. We all know the Lakers need shooting. That's nothing, that's new to anybody. They're shopping and trying to figure out new players that they can get. Basically, if they can find a couple players, that can knock down the 3 ball at maybe a 37% clip, give them maybe 11, 13 points and also play some solid defense, then, the Lakers, they can really turn their season around. It's only been a month into the season. The Lakers are 6-11 on the season. I believe they play the San Antonio Spurs again tonight. I think it's a back-to-back type of deal. But yeah, man, it's real interesting. It's going to be real interesting to see how the season plays out. Do any players take a step up, step back? What moves do they make? If they make moves at the trade deadline, what free agents do they sign? Pat Bev has not really been the best for them, but Pat Bev he's been doing what Pat Bev was brought to do, in my opinion. Get on other teams' nerves, move the ball, occasionally make a corner 3. Now, he hasn't been shooting the ball normally as well as he would be. But, yeah, man, Pat Bev is just still Pat Bev, man, for sure. But another thing, and what I want to end the episode on, basically, is chase your dreams, man. I appreciate everybody who's been supporting me on this journey throughout these last 8 months since I've started this podcast. You all know basically that 2-3 years ago that I tried to start this podcast, or I had the idea of starting the podcast. I procrastinated on it a lot, and basically, I really could have been doing it as I'm getting more stuff. Like I said, I'm not getting the best equipment, but I am getting, some more stuff. I got a camera right here, Hey, I got a camera right here, a little ring light, so you can basically see me. I got a nice little chair to sit in with a Bluetooth speaker. But, yeah, man, it's just chase your dreams, man. Chase your dreams. You never know what you can do. I'm nowhere near where I want to be, but I'm definitely not where I was when I first started this, man. So I appreciate all the support. Like I said, we reached 1,000 plays recently as I've been posting on Anchor. New YouTube channel, Kicking It Dolo. Make sure you follow, like, comment, subscribe on the videos and stuff like that. I think I'm going to be dropping videos over there first, and then maybe dropping them on Anchor maybe a day or 2 later. So yeah, make sure y'all go get that, man. And there's more to come. Tap in and miss out. Until next time. Peace.